Hello, everyone. We are back with our next keynote from Blay, a partner and a business designer at Nova Ventures. And I would hand over the stage to you, Blay, and over to you.
All right, thanks so much, Kanish. Really glad, thank you very much for inviting us over, and really glad to be here. I'll be just providing a very quick speech. I have around 10 minutes, and I would love to get your questions. So please do not hesitate to ask or raise your hands or anything. I can actually see you. As Kanish mentioned, my name is Blay Carandella. I'm partner at Nova Ventures. We are an innovation agency based out of Barcelona, but operate on a global scale. And we support companies in launching new products, services, and business models to the market. And we do so by essentially following the startup methodology, right? Nothing new there. However, there's this mantra or this approach in lean or in startup methodology known as the MVP, the minimum viable product, which is something that we struggle with sometimes in corporates. Actually, corporates struggle in developing a minimum viable product, and there's a number of reasons for that. And actually, I've listed a few of them here, and I would like to discuss these three reasons, and then I'll provide some hacks, some solutions on how to approach these and finding ways of addressing this issue. So I don't know if how many people in the room have struggled themselves within a corporate with minimum viable products, but there's essentially three problems that we identify. First of all, a minimum viable product is hard to assess when your value proposition is something big. You want to launch something large to the market. If your value proposition is accessing millions of customers, how do you launch something that is a minimum viable version of that? And we'll get an example of that in a second. Also, I mean, as you know, corporates are great at executing once they know what to execute. They're not really quick at iterating and finding the right solution. Therefore, a minimum viable product is great, but what if you cannot keep up with the speed that the market requires? And finally, what if viable is a moving target, right? Because viable means something different depending on the size of your business, depending on who you're trying to service, and so on and so forth. But have no fear. I've brought some business prototyping hacks, which is essentially the type of methodologies that we use. And I would like to share these three hacks or techniques or whatever with you, and hope that you can, I get to pick your brains and maybe understand how this would function or work in your context. I hope everybody can see my screen. I'll begin with the first one. Hack number one is the piggybacking technique. Now, there's this mantra in the lean and agile community, right, of saying think big and start small. But again, like we said before, what if big is your value proposition? So, for example, what if you were Airbnb in the very beginning and you wanted to launch a platform where people could put their homes and then access thousands, if not millions, of people who would rent your home, right? That was their value proposition. You will put your house on my platform, you will list it here, and then you'll have customers. But at the beginning, you have no customers. How do you achieve all those customers? Well, by piggybacking, and as a matter of fact, they piggybacked a tool called Craigslist. I'm not sure you're familiar with it. It's a classified ads platform. They were able to connect Airbnb directly to this platform. Therefore, when somebody offered their home on Airbnb, they would immediately access these thousands of people who were looking for homes to rent for a weekend or whatever. Therefore, piggybacking the traction that this other platform had. This is actually the same approach that we are using ourselves with company we're supporting based in Spain. It's a large beer manufacturer, and they want to launch a circular supermarket. It's a supermarket where people order product, we deliver the product, and then go and pick up the empty packaging and the empty bottles or whatever, therefore creating no waste in the whole process, right? This is a really popular thing right now all over the world. I'm sure you're aware of it, which is the circularity or the circular economy. The thing is, again, we wanted to launch something and we want to leverage all their potential. So we connected with their distribution capacity facilities, which already had a lot of product that was also returnable. It was in returnable bottles or whatever. But then we were missing quite a bit of product. And the thing is, if you want to launch a supermarket to customers and want to have enough product and deploy quickly, how do you do that? Well, we actually started piggybacking. So leveraging other e-commerce sites that had the product within them and could deliver within a few hours to where we had it. So at the very beginning, we were actually just getting product very quickly from all these e-commerce sites, and we're able to, within a couple of days, deploy a fully working circular supermarket that from the customer point of view, was a fully functioning business. Now, of course, we might have been losing money on some of the sales we were making in the beginning, but it helps you understand what is it that works and what is it that doesn't work. And now ultimately the products that do work, we have started obviously getting good deals and negotiating good deals to start making a profit and a margin of these different products. Therefore, to sum it up, the piggybacking technique, by piggybacking on external, but also internal resources. So we're also using all the resources of capabilities of distribution and everything. We're able to quickly promise big, even if we're just starting or starting small. We're able to promise big. So from the customer point of view, this is not a minimum viable product. This is an actual functioning business. From our background, we actually know that there's a bit of work and that it needs to be improved, but we're actually able to deploy quickly. So that is hack number one, the piggybacking technique. Second hack, the MacGyver technique. And here we mentioned before, one of the things that many corporates will struggle with is great. They'll build their MVP, and then it turns out they cannot improve it to the speed that is required from the market, right? So how do we achieve that speed? Well, in comes MacGyver. I don't know if you're familiar with this TV show from the 80s or 90s, I'd like to say, where there's this guy, a MacGyver, who's a special agent, and he's able to save lives by just connecting a few objects that are lying around. For example, I have here a little clip of him saving a man's life by connecting two candlesticks to the current via some microphones, and then using that as a defibrillator. You can see it now here, and he's saving this man's life, huh? It's pretty cool, isn't it? Just by connecting a few objects. Well, what if we use that same approach or that same way of thinking to build entire businesses and be able to deploy them quickly? So again, we have here an example of an entrepreneur. He's based out of Bangalore, Karthik Sridharan. I probably pronounced his name wrong. I apologize. He built an entire business that is a $3 million business already within a few months, just by connecting services that already existed in the market. So he ended up building Flexibly. I don't know if you're familiar with it, but it's a way of hiring freelancers, developers and designers. And he claims, and this is a tweet, that he built it on $60 a month, no code stack. So using a few tools. Now, you may recognize some of these tools. For example, Webflow. Webflow is a tool that can help you build a website within minutes very quickly. We have Airtable to connect customers and providers and freelancers, and Zapier, which adds a layer of intelligence on top, all without coding, all existing services. Stripe is another tool that was used, and again, within a few days, hours, if not hours, you can deploy a fully working business. This is something we're launching actually for a customer in the US. This is a large food manufacturer. They have a lot of product that is close to the expiry date and is about to go bad, and it ends up being wasted product. 30% of the products worldwide end up being wasted. So they want to launch a business where they can take these salvaged products and offer them at steep discounts to customers when the product is near the expiry date. Again, here we connected 2 or 3 services, right? We have Wix, we have Stripe, and we have a tool called Text Retailer, which sends an SMS to your phone directly, and you are able to purchase directly from your phone very quickly. So again, by leveraging all these tools, the MacGyver technique is it allows us to leverage many startups, connect them, and then accelerate that speed to market with, I wouldn't consider it, again, a minimal viable product. It's a fully functioning business. It's just connecting things and packaging them in a different way and launching them to market. So we do not need to compromise on robustness, on firm grounds. And lastly, the last tool that I will introduce today, the relabel or the hack. What if viable is a moving target? So what does viable mean, especially if you want to launch something? So in this case, this is a company, an insurance company we're supporting that wants to launch something in Indonesia. They're trying to launch a freemium app where they add insurance services on top of that app. Now, funny enough, they realize that there's many competitors in the market, not insurance companies, but already apps that are offering the same service that they want to offer for free, which I'm not going to get into detail. But it's a service that's already available in some countries. So we said, you know what? Your differential factor is not building the app itself. It's finding out how can you sell your insurance products on top. So why don't we just launch a campaign? We acquire the first customers. We get them to download the competitors' apps, so the other apps that are existing in the market. We tell these customers that we acquire, saying, hey, if you give us your data and we can, interview you and know a little bit about your usage. Hey, not sure if you can still see me. Yeah, somehow I've been kicked out. Kanish, somebody used the same link for whatever reason it was telling me. But I'll finish very, very quickly with what I was saying because I'm very much near the end. So give me a second.
No problem. No problem.
Everything's all right? Okay, good. So I'll continue. So as I was saying, we have these users in Indonesia using this app, and we are finding out how to build and sell insurance products on top of that. So that if they realize that they actually need this app because they're able to better sell their products, then they can partner up with these startups or build a platform of their own. But it's essentially something that's already viable and out in the market and has a lot of usage and is robust. So again, hack number 3, the relabel. If we take existing viable projects and create an improved version, you can always start building on something that is a firm ground and really focus on what will make your solution in the market different. So to sum up, think big, start small sounds great. If you're a startup, if you need to really deliver on big, you can piggyback your way to greatness, finding already solutions that can offer you that step up. If you feel like you are slow, as many corporates are, you can MacGyver your way to the market. You can connect existing services and then finding out how to package them in a way that is different and you can access the market quicker. And if you can't beat them, just relabel them. Thank you very much. This has been, again, very close to the end. I would like to invite everybody to visit our blog if you've enjoyed the stories we were now discussing and the techniques, and feel free to reach out on LinkedIn or send us an email. Happy to connect. So I know we have like 30 seconds. I don't know if anybody has a question or conversation,
We can take one or two. Anyone, any questions? Happy to answer. We have a request from the audience. If you can share the deck,
sure.
You can just send it across to me and I'll have it over.
Absolutely. That wouldn't be a problem.
All right. Anyone, any questions? We can take one or two.
Oh, yeah. Sushant, we have one question, prototyping. So that's a great point. It's essentially not very different from prototyping. It's very much the same. We call it business prototyping in a sense that many times when we prototype or pretotype, we focus on the product itself. Whereas here, our focus is on the business. So when we prototype, we want to find out how to test the channel, how to test the customer, how to test a go-to-market or whatever. But it's essentially, you could say, yeah, prototyping applies in that sense, and I would agree with you. I mean, it's a lot of, at the end, a lot of these things end up in the same place, right? It's a mentality about saying, how can I reach the market better and build something better for my users? And all these tools and approaches make sense and go in the same direction. All right. Thanks. Thank you, Sushant. All right. Well, I hope this was useful for everybody.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Kanish. And
great having you here. If you have any more questions, I'll have it to you offline, and I can take it forward from there.
Okay, perfect. There's some questions on how do you piggyback. Maybe if we can take this offline, you can follow on LinkedIn and we'll discuss there. Thanks, everyone.
Sure.
And thanks, Startup
Thank you.
Have a nice next event. Bye-bye.